It's a great pleasure to welcome Yugen Naidoo, who's the General Manager at Lenovo South Africa, a person who's been in the industry for a very, very long time, he's inspired many young people and has had a fascinating career. I've known you for a while, Yugen. It's great to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm great, Aki. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. It's really nice to see you. Listen, for many people watching, your early childhood, when did you experience this desire to move into the technology business? Or is it more entrepreneurial? Because I see you as an entrepreneurial technology person. That's how I see you. But tell me about your early childhood. What was it that spurred you to get to you where you are today?
Oh, I haven't been asked that question in many, many years. Yeah, but I think, growing up in a small town in Vietnam in the north coast of Durban, that's rural Natal. We walked to school every day and we went home when the street lights actually, went off. It's very different to how our kids of today actually experience living. I guess my whole background was shaped, by my great teachers that I had, my coaches, and I think most of all, the family that have been extremely highly supportive over the years. That being said, I grew up in a very highly competitive family. Not just in the school, school books and school, but obviously on the sports field. I always knew at that time I wanted to be a leader, but I had no clue, Aki, no clue it was going to be in IT. What I did know was I loved working with people, and I loved working in small groups, or large groups as well. And I realized very quickly that every team that I played for, or in the council, as in the school, I quickly, rose to the top of being the captain or being the chairman of whatever I did. And that didn't happen by luck. It just, I navigated. I really went that way. Not many people know, but I played volleyball for South Africa, and I played any sport that had a bat and ball. I was in, and that really shaped me, as an individual and being a sports person in the business world. It helped my career. But my biggest childhood memory on what shaped me was, I remember leading 6 full buses of school kids to the Durban ICC. And this was in protest in the 90s back then for inequality in education. Here's a 16-year-old chap, packing these buses and going to see Minister at the time, Professor Bengu, and saying this is not good enough, on what we want as kids. And that really shaped me. It shaped my foundation. And, open up the paper on Sunday and voila, it's on the front page, these kids protesting about equality in education. So that's really the strongest childhood memory I can share with you today.
Gee, that's quite a story. I didn't know you played volleyball, which is something I've learned about you today. So thanks for sharing that with us. Now, you studied information technology at the Durban University of Technology. Now, once you graduated, do you remember what your first job was? Can you remember what your first salary was like? Because I remember mine, and it kind of is a constant reminder to understand anyone's humble beginnings and how one started in the corporate world.
Yeah, another great question. Actually, I think just a little update, right? I did not complete my information technology degree at DUT, and now that was due to finances. I was under scholarship, a volleyball scholarship. It was the reason, and I had an injury in the final of the university games. And at that point, my family could not afford it. And that was a major setback for me. I had no income to subsidize the university fees. But that's what fueled me, okay? It fueled me to achieve more and more and more. And the minute I could afford it, I completed my Bachelor of Science at DIT. I got an NDP from Gibbs. I got a CMP from CIQ. Got my post diploma from Exceed Business School. And finally, which I'm most proud of, is my MBA through UK and Europe. To answer your question, my first job was a barman. Okay. And I worked for Tipsa, and it was my biggest payday of 1,200 Rand. My God, was I happy that day, back in the 90s. But my first real job, Aki, was I earned 12,000 Rand. And I used that to pay rent. I bought my first car, 10,000 Rand. It was a rundown Golf 1. Never forget it. Uh, it was held together by gum and glue. Uh, and I remember this, so vividly, that the bumper fell off every time I hit a speed bump. But this really, again, shaped what I wanted in my future.
Yeah, yeah. But listen, I mean, you mentioned the MDP that you studied in business management at the Gordon Institute of Business Science. That's a really, really tough course. And of course, your MBA, which you spoke about. What inspired you to complete these further studies?
I was very fortunate, in my past company, I was selected one of 25 people, and they invested in the future leaders. This really sparked my curiosity, and I always wanted, more past just the tech understanding and fully understand business drivers and business outcomes end to end. This really helped me. I'm so grateful, that I was part of that cohort group. Today, many of those colleagues, Aki, have either gone international or are driving corporate South Africa. But really, the MBA has really been the game changer for me. Uh, it showed me how to move from the red ocean to the blue. And it's not just a cliche, but it's true. It really shapes you as an individual and helps you spot the gaps that many people don't see.
Right, right. So, as I said, I've known you for many years, and I'm trying to think how far back I've known you for. But you've had, some really important management leadership roles at top technology companies over the time that I've known you. The last few years you've spent at Lenovo, and during this journey, was there, when you look back, was there any person or opportunity that gave you a particular boost? Is there somebody that really inspired you, or perhaps a role that really moved you forward and spurred your career on?
I think my career has been built on, moments of trust and delivery. I've been lucky to have so many people that have shaped, my personal journey. My biggest driver for sure has been my wife and family. And it's true, the more you practice, a lot of golfers say this, carry player, the luckier you get. I've been fortunate to have peers like, Charlotte Simon, Isabella Phoenix, uh, the Robbie Johnson. These guys gave me the opportunity. They saw something in me, and they gave me a big break, in my IT career. I've also had great leaders, like Thibaut Dusson, Adele Oosthuizen, Doug Willie, Neil and Jenny Rex, Terry Boulanger. And, all of these people really helped me understand and unpack what's in me, which, they believed. And most recently, at Lenovo, I've got Fiona O'Brien, my mentor, and Shashank Sharma. I mean, this is my leadership team, and, they've really challenged me to be the best version of myself, Aki.
Wow, you just spoke about a few leaders that I know very well. That's very inspirational, the people that you've come across throughout your career. Is there particularly a tough challenge? Because I know that when times are tough, you mentioned in your early childhood, but in your career, and these kind of things really shape us. Is there particularly a tough challenge that comes to mind during the journey to becoming the GM of Lenovo South Africa? And how did you solve this challenge that you encountered?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I guess every leader at some time faces headwinds, and COVID really impacted the way we understood business. We challenged the status quo, we challenged the norm, and how you understood how the world should work. For me, for my team, even for my peers and competitors in the industry, I think it was every day was a new land. and there was lots of uncertainty, supply chain, partner and customer delivery. And I think most of all for me was, keeping your staff motivated and really focused in those tough times. This was my biggest learning and challenge. Um, and I was very happy that we had to find a way to build this plane whilst we were flying it. And it's not a cliche; it was the truth. Everybody was really trying to understand, how do we make this work. And for me, this was my steepest learning curve. During this time, I think the only way that I and my team could be successful was to stay focused on the goal, stay calm and stick to the plan, and ensure that, that the strategy that we outlaid was crystal clear to all external and for sure internal stakeholders. But we had to apply a lot of discipline, a lot of discipline, because during tough times, discipline and your plan is the only thing that will pull you through.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess that it really shapes your career going forward, because I think COVID was a differentiator for many. And the really tough people survived that tough period, if I can use that word, just in terms of navigating those leadership waters, which are really, really tough. Now, as you've taken on increasingly more responsibilities throughout your career, has your leadership style evolved, or has it been the same kind of at the core leadership style that you've had, since your days in high school when you were leading those people onto that protest march, or has it evolved slightly to adapt to the times that you're in?
I would need to ask my colleagues around me about, has it evolved or has it stayed the same? But I am surrounded, Aki, by amazing leaders at Lenovo. And, we are focused on empowerment, fostering growth and leadership. And, we've been very intentional about creating opportunities, for younger women, especially underprivileged kids, to be, pretty clear. We've started an initiative called RoboGirl. And this initiative is basically run for the last few years, where Lenovo basically takes 20 schools, girl kids, and we really get them into the technology sector, learning about programming, robotics, and workshopping business in totality. Well, like my learning, it's pointless just doing the technical aspect. You need to understand the soft skills behind it. Okay. And second to that, one of my colleagues, Verden Skuman, was nominated and actually achieved a prestigious award for the diversity and inclusion manager for the whole of EMEA region. Now, this is testament, I would hope, on my leadership, right, as Lenovo Southern Africa GM, because we empower our teams to really shine and to think out the box. Now, if I look at my early leadership style, to answer your question, it was very transactional, extremely transactional. I have evolved into a transformational and a servant leader. I believe in people, I believe in outcomes, and I lead from the trenches with my team. It's a very Kaizen approach. We're always learning, and we live by a strong culture of ownership, and you said it a few times, entrepreneurship, and we are customer centric, and that's our core, customer intimacy. So that summarizes my leadership.
Yeah, and when you look at your current job, how is it different from when you were rising through the ranks? Because now and I'm sure you led people in the past, but now you're leading an organization. So, you obviously have to take a different approach compared to when you were rising through the ranks.
100%. My early career days, I evolved from packing boxes in a macro, in a game, incredible connections, to now, meeting with presidents, CXOs, and ministers. My journey has certainly not been an easy one. Late nights, early mornings, hard work. But I think early on in my career, success was absolutely personal. Where are we now? Today, it's 150% collective. Uh, it's what we can achieve as a team. It's not what I can achieve. It's what we can achieve. Uh, and I think culture for me has been the most critical factor. It's been the backbone of my successes and my team's successes. It's not just about the fun stuff. It's about work ethic, trust, respect to each other, and in building, a high-performing team is all about leadership with clarity. So, yeah.
Yeah. And your vision for Lenovo, you've been in the role for some time now. You've done amazing things. You've guided the organization through tough times and COVID, etc. What's your vision going forward for growth and success in South Africa?
So I'm again fortunate. I'm not just responsible for South Africa, Aki. I'm responsible for all markets from Angola to the IOI, Indian Ocean Islands, which is including Mauritius and pretty much the SADC belt. The strategy is tech is no longer just a nice to have. It's a necessity. And at Lenovo, our purpose is to democratize information technology to our people. Okay. Lenovo is not just a tech company that just can provide hardware. We have moved to, which is now almost 5 to 6 years old, the pocket to cloud strategy. As you know, in South Africa, we lead in different sectors, consumer, education, and the public sector. And our purpose is to really deliver on our 3-year strategy, which is from smarter devices, smarter infrastructure, wrapped by a network, and most importantly, giving our customers a full solution through different verticals. This is, for me, one of the reasons I joined Lenovo 10 years back, because I looked at the innovation, I looked at the R&D of this company, and I didn't know at the time, 1 in 4 employees is actually in R&D. And that is what the brand is about. It's about purpose and always innovating. So, this is the vision is to lead by example, number one, and lead ethically and with integrity, delivering our solutions.
Listen, you've had an amazing career. When you look back to your youth and you look back to as you were growing up, if you look at your younger self, would you give your younger self one piece of advice before starting your career journey? What would it be? And I guess I'm asking this question because you're an inspiring leader for many, and there's a lot of young people watching this, and they get inspired by this. So, what would that advice be to a younger person today?
Move to Bali and play volleyball on the beach. It's a lot nicer there. No, I think, just to come back, I think back yourself. I think it's so important. You got to take the small wins, because the small wins lead to the big wins. And often, especially with youngsters, they want to walk into an environment and go to the corner office. No, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You got to invest in learning the skills of the different jobs, before you actually take on the big one. So I think for me is, take the shot, and if you miss, it's okay. I've always lived by the motivation, Aki, that second is the first loser. And largely this has driven me. And if I had to talk to 16-year-old again, I would say, listen, stay curious, stay open-minded, stay disciplined, but fail quick and move forward. And I think it's use these experiences as your foundation. I think that's most important. I listened to one of my guys that really inspires me, Roger Pedra, half South African. And, he said that, how did he get to the top of the world in one of his university speeches to the kids is he lost 52% of the points that he played, but he won the 48% that mattered and counted. And I think those are such powerful words, that you cannot win all, but when you win, make sure you're winning the right points, because that will define you.
See, that's a great quote from Roger Federer, the great Roger Federer. And lastly, when you relax with your family and you're not working, what do you do to switch off? Are you still playing volleyball, or with your old age now, you've moved to paddle?
I would love to get back on the court, but I got to make time for that. My colleagues keep calling me back. Uh, but for now, I think my wife and daughters keep me busy. Okay. In my spare time, I enjoy playing golf, even though I'm terrible at it. But I think just the network and the experience with my colleagues, I love doing that. Uh, I gym every day. Oh, sorry, from Monday to Friday, 5 a.m. That's me time, and I love reading. I don't think I read enough, but I really enjoy reading motivational books, and I'm currently reading Rassi, Speak About Great Man or Great Men. I mean that guy inspires me. So Rassi Erasmus is one of one of the strongest leaders in the country, and my favorite authors is Malcolm Gladwell. Books like Tipping Point. There's a lot of lessons in these books and helps me in my journey. So that's what I do to relax. I play golf, I read, I go to gym, and I spend time with my family.
Lovely stuff. Yugen, it's such a lovely pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time and sharing those personal insights throughout your career. Yugen Naidoo, General Manager at Lenovo South Africa. Thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Next.
Thank you, Aki. All the best.